Hey everybody, welcome back to this live episode of Think Business. I'm looking forward to talking to Jason Yourofsky. Jason, good to see you, man. Always good to see you.
You as well.
President of Atlantis Mortgage. You guys are a wholesale mortgage company that shops the market for you. We collaborate with lenders to price loans with rates that are consistently affordable. I will contest Atlantis Mortgage. There you go for everybody to kind of see the website. But you guys have been great. You've refinanced my house, a lot of people in my family's house over and over and over again. The experience from a customer standpoint has been great. Even if there's been a hiccup, it's been easy. It's been really, really easy. And so I'm happy to have you on the show. I want to start by talking about I want to go back 25 years because I love talking to entrepreneurs and business people who are in a business and have been in a business for almost 25 years.
Okay.
And so, because right now we're sitting here February 11th, 2021. There's a lot of people out there, whether it's the mortgage business or any other business, who are looking to start a business. I think we're going to see more entrepreneurs this decade than we have in some time.
Agreed.
And so if you were to write a playbook of, 2 or 3 things that were the most important things you did when you started your business, what would those be in hindsight?
It's funny, if I could go back a little bit farther on the way back machine.
Yeah.
It was high school, honestly.
Yeah.
I was working at ABC Warehouse selling computers and phones and TVs.
Mary Hogg?
Oh, Mary was actually my manager for 2 years in Farmington Hills. What a small world.
Yeah, we got everything.
Bruce Gorman and all the rest of the guys that are still there.
We bought everything from Bruce and Mary.
Okay, so Mary was my direct manager, and then Bruce was the store manager. What a small world.
Oh, that is great. Yeah.
So I learned how to sell from guys that were selling on their feet 12 hours a day.
Wait, I just want to say one thing. Because an ABC warehouse, for people who don't know, I don't even think it's around anymore.
It is. Yeah, they still have 26
is it around?
stores. Yeah, 26 stores.
But those were hustlers who, really learned how to sell. There was layered pricing, and they were negotiating. And we
had a computer that was a green screen computer where I could go up and type in a code. I still remember my code, 3068. I could see what they paid for the item, what I could sell it for, and then what I could sell it for, making a little bit of money, and then what the warranty costs there. So they knew 25 years ago that giving people the tools, you could be a better salesman. And that was the greatest thing that I learned from ABC Warehouse was if you give people the proper tools, they can sell anything, especially with technology. They had technology before technology was even a word in sales. So that's where it really started. And then graduating from Eli Broad College of Business, I had a college roommate, showed me his pay stub. It's kind of like Wolf of Wall Street. You show me a pay stub, right? You made $72,000 last month. I'm going to work for you.
Right.
What ended up happening? I had who's now my vice president, Jeremy, came to me and he showed me a pay stub. He made $20,000 the last month. And I said, I don't care what I have to do. I'm working for you. And I came in and worked in the mortgage business and sat at a desk for 3 months learning everything there was about mortgages. And I got really lucky. I learned from some top guys.
Yeah. Are you talking about Jeremy Steibel?
Yeah, Jeremy Steibel.
Great guy.
Wonderful. I mean, the knowledge learned, but you always have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You always surround yourself by smarter people. That's the biggest key.
100%. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You got to get the hell out of there.
100%. And I see that happen a lot in organizations today who haven't woken up, where they're not. I want to go back to this. If you give your people the proper tools, they can sell anything.
Correct.
I'm a big I don't just promote it because I do it, but I'm a big advocate of training. Companies must train their people. They must invest in their people, because if they don't, then they're going to ultimately leave. And so, you're talking about give them all the tools, but I find some companies don't even want to give them the tools because they want to kind of keep them kind of where they are.
Well, a lot of people do. Quicken does. Quicken doesn't give them. Quicken gives them a tool, so they're a single cog in a wheel. We have to teach them to be the entire wheel.
Yeah, but Quicken's training nonstop. That is one thing. I mean, they are
They do. They do a great job. So that
Great.
person is an absolute expert at what
Yeah.
it is they do in the wheel.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's unbelievable what they do. And so within your group, how do you train your people? What type of tools do you give your people? Because, I can just speak from experience, and my father-in-law, I could name some other people, but,
Thank you.
We've all been through kind of the Atlantis Mortgage experience, and it's been pretty seamless. And your team and your follow-up, I mean, so what type of tools do you give, and how do you train your team?
That's a good question, because most of the people are lifers that have been with me. I mean, the people that work with me, with the exception of 2 people, went to Michigan State. Funny enough, most of them did. And were in the mortgage business 2 and 3 years before I even graduated. So they had a lot of the training, but what I was able to teach them was they all came from a one bank mentality. So people like a Quicken person are usually taught the tools of whomever they're working for, and to ignore the competition. In the business like mine, we're taught to learn what each bank does and what the competition does, because we can offer their products as well. So in training my people, it's just breaking the mindset of one bank or one particular product, or what I'm comfortable with is what I need to sell or what I need to do. The hardest thing to do is break somebody out of their comfort zone, because growth only occurs when a person's out of their comfort zone. 100% of growth occurs when you are uncomfortable. That is the hardest thing to teach people. And I'm doing it every day. It's tough though.
How do you do that every day today? Because in today's world, it's hard to believe we've been living in COVID for almost a year. I think most everyone has had to push themselves out of their comfort zone in one way or another.
Yes.
And so how are you personally doing it? Because not only as an individual, as a human being, but as a leader of people who need to follow the leader in a way.
I spend 2 days a week with each person in my team that wants to spend time with me. And I say that loosely. Some of them are too busy to even get on the phone with me right now. But what I try to do is each person, and when I say 2 days, let's call it 2 half hours. Okay. I still have a small enough team of 19 where I can actually do this. Many people can't. They're a little bit bigger and they have management to do this. But if you can give a person your undivided attention for a half an hour, one of your employees, you are the most valuable person, the owner of the company. So if I can give them the ability to ask me questions, what would you do in this particular circumstance? How would you handle this? And I can go over those scenarios with them, and they take from me something valuable where they're actually learning how I would handle a particular difficult situation and or sales situation. That for me is what I've been doing. I've really been trying to, even via video call, which is obviously the world we're living in, do that with people and run my scenarios. But I also created a group text. It's the best thing I ever did for the entire office.
Tell me why. Tell me. I mean, I think I know why, but tell me why.
No, the group text allows me to communicate with them. I hate to say 24/7, but for example, when UWM and Quicken went public, I was able to share information about it ahead of time so that when their customers had questions, they can go back and reference. It's a forum for people to get questions answered, not just by myself, by other staff members, and it allows people to learn by other people's questions. People only learn by other people's experiences. That's why knowledge is passed down from elders. Knowledge is always passed down from the person who's experienced it the most. So that
I agree with you. I just want to highlight a couple of things. The importance of what you're talking about with your 30-minute meetings with people is so critical, because everybody needs a new question, a new talking point. Everybody needs to know what to do next in some type of scenario. And so to provide that attention to your team, I think is so critical. So kudos to you. And the learning from others, I think, is more important now than ever before, because we're not in offices as much. I think once we go back to the office, there's still going to be hybrid models. The geographic boundaries of hiring have been, destroyed, which means, you can, I was talking to, people in this past week for all over the world who are hiring all over the world, right? It's no longer just in the backyard to get best of class. And so with that, people want to find new ways of networking. It's interesting, Jason. I recently, 2 months ago, I launched my coaching is more one-on-one. And then I do keynotes, which isn't happening right now, and a lot of trainings. But I launched 2 months ago because of COVID, a private group training group. And I bring in speakers, I do workshops, and it's live every Monday. But everybody also loves the networking and learning from everybody else in the group. So I agree with you. People are hungry for that. Let's talk about you, the business owner, and how you plan for tomorrow. Right? We've all pivoted over the last year. I think now people are looking at least, I would say, their 3-year plan, looking out. It's hard, I think, to plan 10 years out.
Okay.
Where do you, as a business person, where have you reset your vision, and how do you keep that vision in front of your people?
Good question. We're in a business that's 100%, as you can imagine, government regulated.
Yeah.
They took over complete control after the '08 debacle. But that also means that there's less competition. Many people don't want to jump through the hoops to become a mortgage company. So the good news is competition is low, especially amongst banks. I think that our growth is going to come in as the banks continue to lose market share. Us smaller independents that are a lot less expensive and give the customers a better deal. Even though we don't have the advertising budget, we will grow from there. However, we're controlled by interest rates, as you can imagine. We've had 2 record years between 2019 and 2020, and 2021 has started out double 2020, all because of interest rates being at a low point where people can redo their mortgages. So we're trying to really invest in technology because a lot of my people want to stay at home. 4 years ago, we were able to do so because my head of operations moved to Western Michigan. And since our offices are in Farmington Hills, we had to learn remote technology before anybody had to. So when 2020 in March occurred, and I told everybody on March 16th to stay home, it was as though they were already trained to be able to do so. They already had the computers, the technology, the cameras, and the such. Now a lot of them want to have more tools at home like we had at the office.
Yeah.
So I see growth coming directly from investments in technology, allowing people to work from home, allowing people to be remote. But our growth is going to really come from our people within, taking on more market share when the big banks are pulling out.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that, growing the people within, which we've touched on a little bit as far as the training.
Yep.
And how are you evolving the customer experience? How are you educating them and working with them to make the customer experience even better? I'm finding that, that the client interaction, the client experience, the turnaround time, the follow-up and expectations of people is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. The average attention span is 6 seconds, which is less than a goldfish for a human being, which means anybody who's listening to this podcast is, amazing.
We love them. Thank you for staying on. The reality of it is we have a multitude of different lenders we do business with, and the great news is they're investing in the technology, the customer experience technology. Meaning, when you do business with us, for example, you're signing applications. It's now all digital through your email. You don't have to print documents. Uploading documents to us is now digital as well. You could snap a picture with your phone, send an email, or go to a secure server. As we keep moving towards that, it will keep speeding up the process of the mortgage transaction. Right now, we could technically close a mortgage legally it would be 4 days. Now, do mortgages close in 4 days? Of course not. However, it is theoretically possible, and we have done so. 1 day for submission, 3 days for disclosure, and then the closing would occur on the 4th day. And the reason it doesn't happen that quickly is, one, banks have capacity, as do human beings, and obviously getting documents from human beings takes time, along with third parties involved in the mortgage transaction. But as those things keep going on digitally, our transactions are never going to be going to Expedia.com, clicking and getting your mortgage like what Quicken does. However, Quicken technically just uses that as a lead generation site. Very few people complete their mortgage 100% online. I think the numbers are like 2% actually go to Rocket Mortgage and do it completely from beginning to end. Still requires human interaction. But with us as well, our transactions have gone down in time based on banks and us investing in new technology. Something as simple as a shared Dropbox folder with customers allows a customer to upload securely into a Dropbox folder and then immediately show up where I need them to be. And it's stored there as we have files that come back for audit years later.
Yeah.
So I've cut out 4 processes with 1.
It's great.
Those sorts of things are helping tremendously in our business.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That is great. So let's talk a little bit about your business now.
Okay.
Right. And so, you're a mortgage company. Again, you are a wholesale mortgage company that shops the market for your clients. Right. You collaborate with lenders to price loans with rates that are consistently affordable. You talk about wholesale rates and why pay retail. And so, what do you do differently than other mortgage companies, and why should somebody come to you?
I love the example of a car. If you've ever gone to a car dealership, you go in, there's a bunch of people waiting there for you to touch a vehicle. They want to give you a test drive. Then they come back and they give you a price. Let's just say the price is $499 a month for a new Jeep Cherokee. You could also call a broker, like I'm a broker for mortgages. There are car brokers. That car broker you can call. He'll shop all the dealerships in your region. One of them might have the exact vehicle you want. And then what he does is he can usually get you a payment of $399. How is he able to save you $100 a month or $3,600 on the life of a loan or the life of a lease? Simply put, he does a volume. He does a ton of volume with that dealership that the dealership is willing to give you, his customer, a much better deal than you walking in directly. They'll make that extra $3,600 on you. But for his customers to earn his business, they have to give him a better deal. So in tune, you're his customer, you get that deal. I do the same thing with a mortgage. You can't buy $200 million worth of mortgages. That's our job. When we're placing such volume with banks, they offer a better rate than their loan officers can on retail. That better rate and better transaction costs get passed on to our borrowers, and banks compete for our business the same way that they would compete for your business, but on a much higher scale, which gives our customers the discount volume as if you were buying in bulk. So, such as a car broker would get you a better deal on a car, a mortgage broker gets you a much better deal on a mortgage. And we can place that loan at a multitude of banks all around the country that you may not be able to shop because they might only be wholesale. They might not have retail presence.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
But simply put, if we had to spend the money, though, on advertising like the big guys, obviously our rates would be reflective of that. So all of our business comes from word of mouth, corporate programs we do with large companies such as Ford. We're one of Ford's 3 companies that are approved by Ford to do loans for their employees. These are all things that wouldn't know if you didn't ask. I got in with Ford because I did a loan for a vice president of Ford Motor Credit. Asked them, how do I get on board to offer this to every one of your customers? I always tell my employees, ask. Right now we're presenting in front of the Fraternal Order of Police and the Department of Homeland Security. Why? Because I had an employee ask. So we're going to put together corporate programs for them as well, which will allow us to get business directly from the organizations.
Yeah, I love it. I love the thoroughness. I love the hustle. I love the training. I love the one-on-ones. I love the tools, the vision of where you're going. If you look at 2020, what's the number one lesson you learned in 2020?
Thank God I had an employee that had worked from home, and we were able to work the kinks out of remote work ahead of time. Yeah. And unless you have that investment, unless you have a really good tech person or technology department and had planned for the worst. I'm a planner. I'm a prepper. We could go into the craziness of the bunker I have in my basement and how I like to store food. And everybody thought I was crazy until March because I had a few thousand N95 masks, which I donated to Beaumont Hospital. Those sorts of things I prepped for. And then March happened, and all of a sudden, no prepper expects what they prep for to happen. But I had been preparing for what I saw on the horizon, which was a work from home environment, and it happened.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know about the bunker since you live next to my father-in-law. So that's good to know where to go.
He's been over.
Yeah.
You've seen it.
All right, Jason, this has been great. Tell people, I want to do a quick speed round, but first tell people your ideal clients, which you've mentioned a little bit, but your ideal clients and how they can connect with you.
Okay. I personally like to work with self-employed borrowers. I'm more than happy to work with people that are employees as well. But people like yourself and like myself, we have to sell ourselves all day. Meaning, if they're a doctor, if they're a lawyer, if they're a business owner, if they're an independent contractor, those people are always selling. Doesn't matter what. Those people are also my best referral sources. So in business, I love working with self-employed people. Happy to work with anybody. Our mortgages range anywhere from 50,000 to 2 million. So we run the gamut of customers that we can help, and we love to help everybody. But me personally, I get the most enjoyment out of working with people that are similar to myself, that are business owners.
It's great. It's great. Well, I appreciate you being on the show. Quick speed round for you.
Sure.
Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Best piece of wisdom I ever received. Okay. This didn't have to do with business, but when I met my wife and I knew she was the one after maybe the second date, I went to my parents and I was talking my head off, and my father looked at me and said, talk less, listen more. And he was right.
Yeah.
That helped.
Favorite book and why?
Favorite book? Funny enough, The Secret, because I believe everything is the power within you, and I believe that you have the ability to attract what you want. Positive energy attracts other like positive energy. Yeah. Negative energy attracts negative energy.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's basic science, and I love it. Finish this sentence. One thing that every entrepreneur needs to increase their awareness in is?
Every entrepreneur needs to increase their awareness of the people they surround themselves with. Mm-hmm. Successful people surround themselves with other like successful people. People that complain, people that have problems, they surround themselves with other people that complain and have problems.
Yeah. Amen. Define yourself in one word.
Hungry.
I love it. All right. Tell everybody again how to connect with you, Jason.
Anytime anybody needs us, just go directly to atlantismortgage.com. Or you could always reach me directly by typing in Jason Yourofsky into Google. You'll come up with all of our information, or type in Atlantis Mortgage into Google as well.
All right, Jason, can't thank you enough. Thanks for everything you shared today. Thanks for everything you've done for me.
Appreciate it.
Grateful and appreciative for it. And Think Community, if Jason can help you, please reach out. Thanks again, man. Appreciate all the wisdom today, and congratulations on a great year and continued success. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.